All right, everyone. So this clip of Bret Hart taking a little bit of a shot at the WWE, saying he doesn't feel appreciated, has gone viral. So we're gonna play it and react to it a little bit. Here it is.
I went to SummerSlam. They invited me down, and this year for WWE, and they told me that they wanted me to be in the crowd. And then they told me once I got there that they didn't have any seats. So it's like, but I noticed Kevin Nash got a seat. So I just sort of know, I don't feel that WWE, I maybe finally realized that I don't think they really fully appreciate me. I went to SummerSlam.
So this, like I said, it's going viral. A lot of news outlets are covering it. Everybody's kind of talking about it, and it's one of those things where I don't know the WWE side of this. What actually was happening here. But if Bret Hart's story is the 100% truth, then what happened was they said, "Hey, we want you in the crowd," and then they didn't give you a seat. I don't know what's going on with that. That doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. But there's two things I think that are going on here. Number one, as WWE continues to grow, and look, I understand WWE has always been a big company, but when TKO becomes a thing here, right? They buy it, and so it's like I don't even know how it all works, but it's like UFC and WWE under the umbrella together, right? All of that. When that becomes a thing, this company just got way bigger than it ever was, right? I mean, it's just the truth in terms of size and scale. That's why you saw a lot of layoffs. That's why you saw people who had been there for a long time being let go. We did videos on that. And with that, I think comes a lot of what we've seen with the Goldberg retirement thing. What you see here with Bret Hart, where it just becomes the case where you don't have the company, like one side of the company that's doing something, and the other side of the company that's doing something else. You just don't have them fitting together perfectly. So you get things like, hey, we think you should, one side, one person saying, you should come, we want you in the crowd. And then the person that's responsible for actually putting this together, right, for actually getting the seats and all of that, they're doing something else. And they're also offering other people seats. And then you get there and you go, oh, we don't have the seats, which is not acceptable, right? I mean, it's an unacceptable thing. And I'm not sure, because that's the interesting part of this, is that this isn't a situation like when I first read the headline, I was like, oh my God, is this going to be kind of something where it's, Bret Hart wanted something and didn't get it? No, this is something, according to Bret Hart, that WWE asked, and then he shows up, and then it's not like that is just not acceptable, right? That is just something that's not acceptable, and I can't wait, if we do, to hear from the company as a whole on this. But I think this was something, we talked about it right from the jump that people missed. I think people were focused on, hopefully creative is better when Vince is out of the picture, right? Hopefully with Triple H running the show completely, things are going to be good. And by the way, I think they have been pretty good. But with that comes a whole new company here. And I'm not blaming Triple H for this, because I don't think he probably had much to do with this at all, right? I think it was whoever was, there's probably, my guess is, if we ever do find out the truth of it, probably some sort of miscommunication, right? That's probably how this went down. But we're starting to see this a lot, even with the Goldberg retirement match. And with that, it was one of those things where I understood why Goldberg was upset. I just hated that he was even speaking out about it, because it just, it's one of those things, maybe if you just don't acknowledge what everybody kind of thought, everybody will have a better taste in their mouth regarding his final match, because I think he deserved it. But this is one of the reasons I think you see even like Stone Cold Steve Austin, why he stays in some way kind of away from the company compared to like Undertaker or a lot of the other guys during that time. Because I just think he doesn't want to get involved anymore, when it's like, okay, I had this phenomenal career. I'm not going to continue to kind of show my face and have things go wrong. Obviously the ATV thing at WrestleMania. And, I just think that's probably what a lot of these stars should start doing more of, which is, look, come around every once in a while, but, and in this, that doesn't really apply to this case, because once again, WWE, if he's telling the truth here, 100%, then he was asked to go, and then he doesn't get a seat. I don't fully understand that, but I do think if I'm Triple H, I'm having a meeting with a lot of people right now, and I'm just saying, okay, this is now number two of we have a retirement match for Goldberg. We weren't able to deliver it in the way that the guy who was retiring wanted. You don't have to have the retirement match, but if you have it, you have to make sure it's good. You didn't have to have the retirement match. You wanted it, and for good reason, because it was awesome in terms of him having the retirement match. But you got to deliver on it if you do have it. You can't, you have to deliver on it. And then now you see this with Bret Hart. They just have to kind of realize that we got to take better care of this stuff, right? Because then it becomes a headline, and now you have the people that help build the company are not happy with the way things are going. And don't get me wrong, Bret Hart seems, and you could put in the comment section below if you agree with me on this, but he seems like someone that's tough to please, right? That there's always something that he's not liking about the company and everything like that. But still, if this is true, you invited him, don't have a seat for him, seems not great. Now to be fair, they did just put his match with Stone Cold into the Hall of Fame. I think they do have a level of appreciation. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.